Fever is taking a step to make sure Caitlin Clark remains in Indianapolis. Now, there has been growing concerns in the last recent years of Caitlin Clark playing in Indiana that the superstar actually might want to leave.
The front staff of the Indiana Fever just made a significant decision that no one is discussing. Caitlin Clark's fourth-year option was exercised last night, securing her spot on the team through 2027. Here's the twist, though, that makes everything different. She can now add an extension and renegotiate her pay under the new CBA. In 2027, she could just leave and travel wherever she pleases. She now has total control of the situation.
This is being reported that the Indiana Fever has exercised Caitlin Clark's fourth-year option, will makes her officially under contract through 2027. Now, Chloe Peterson was the one.
Do you really have all the power in the world when your front office exercises your fourth-year contract option to keep you locked in through 2027? But the new CBA also gives you the ability to renegotiate your salary to whatever you want, add an extension, or simply refuse and leave after 2027 to sign with any team in the league for maximum money. Or does it trap you with a franchise that has already demonstrated they don't know how to handle your career? Since this is significant and somehow went unnoticed, allow me to explain exactly what transpired. Late last night, Chloe Peterson revealed the information. The Caitlin Clark's fourth-year option has been formally exercised by the Indiana Fever. Thus, Caitlin's contract is now valid through 2027. That is the fundamental truth. However, the consequences of this action are far more intricate than they first seem. Let's start by discussing the true meaning of the fourth-year option. Players' contracts include team options for upcoming seasons after they are drafted. The Fever may have chosen to let Caitlin become an agent earlier or to pick up her fourth year. They must have realized that it would be the worst move in sports history to let Caitlin Clark depart. She is the only cause of the Fever is important. All 44 games are shown nationally only because of her. They only sell out venues because of her. It would be franchise suicide to let her leave early.
For the Fever, they have exercised Caitlin Clark's fourth-year option. She is now officially under contract through 2027. Under Epic, Clark will also be able to renegotiate her fourth-year salary.
The Fever thus used the option. That portion doesn't surprise anyone. What follows is what makes this intriguing. Caitlin Clark can now renegotiate her fourth-year compensation and, if she so chooses, add an extension under the new CBA, particularly under the Epic provision. That's where the heat starts to build. This is the crucial information that everyone must comprehend. It is not necessary for Caitlin to add an extension. She might simply accept the contract until 2027, after which you can opt out. She may play for those years, earn her money, and then, in 2027, become a free agent and join with any team she chooses for any sum of money. And since she is Caitlin Clark, any WNBA team would pay her whatever she demands.
Now that is going to be the most interesting part of it all, because to be honest with you guys, Caitlin Clark do not have to add an extension. She can just take the contract up until 2027 and opt out and choose to leave. Now, this is the Indiana Fever front office trying to show solidarity, I believe, with Caitlin.
In other words, the Fever front office gave Caitlin total power over her destiny while simultaneously locking her in for the time being. She is in complete control. If the Fever show they deserve her, she can renegotiate for a higher salary and stay for a longer period of time. Alternatively, if things don't get better, she can simply wait out the contract and quit. She has complete control over the situation. The Fever front office hasn't exactly covered themselves in glory over the previous year, which is why this situation is so intriguing. Many supporters no longer have any faith in this group at all, and they have excellent explanations for their lack of faith. Let's discuss the last season in which Caitlin suffered an injury. The front desk's handling of that circumstance was a complete failure. Transparency was non-existent. For months, everything was routine. She would return by August, they insisted. August arrived and departed. No, Caitlin. They then speculated that she would return before to the playoffs. The playoffs came and went. Caitlin is still absent. Subsequently, there were speculations that Caitlin was genuinely healthy and prepared to play, but the front staff was delaying her in order to save her for current season. Due to the front office's refusal to communicate effectively, nobody is aware of the truth. You don't treat your franchise star that way. You don't build that way. Have faith in your fan base. You don't manage a professional organization that way. Fans of Fever recall all of that. The way the front office handled Caitlin's injury is therefore a major consideration when discussing whether or not she'll remain in Indiana in the long run. Let's now discuss Stephanie White, as many people are also concerned about her. People want her to leave, like right away. And the explanations are rather obvious. Regarding how to use Caitlin, she has made dubious choices. She has discussed playing Caitlin off-ball more. Rather of simply allowing the club to play the style that was effective, she stated putting in place her own system, beneath Christie's sides. In interviews, she has given off strange emotions regarding her perspective on Caitlin's role. The injury problem was handled poorly by the front staff. Fans don't trust your coach. Now that you have a contract, Caitlin has total control over whether or not to stay. If Caitlin decides she's had enough of the dysfunction, she can simply walk in 2027 and the Fever won't be able to stop her, making that a risky combo. The financial aspect is also intriguing. Caitlin Clark is the highest paid player in WNBA history and may join any team. Any group would grant her all of her requests. Thus, money isn't the main issue here. No matter where she performs, Caitlin will be compensated. This relates to her desired location. Which company does she trust? Which coach is she interested in playing for? Which city would she like to live in? New York has been suggested as a possible location by several. Clearly, New York is a huge market, much larger than Indianapolis. Playing in New York may earn Caitlin even more money through endorsement deals. She might have access to larger stages, greater facilities, and more resources. Additionally, based on remarks Caitlin has made in the past, we know she enjoys New York. Another possibility that folks mention is Los Angeles. The women's Lakers basketball, Hollywood, the largest market in the nation. Exposure and endorsement chances are comparable to those in New York. To be honest, Caitlin would blend in perfectly with her star power. Here's the problem, though. No matter where Caitlin Clark performs, her market will be enormous. She's gone beyond the game. In terms of her influence and impact, she is being compared to LeBron James and Michael Jordan. It's not overstated. She is currently at that point in the cultural discourse. So, whether she's in Los Angeles, New York, or Indianapolis, her star power doesn't change. This implies that organizational trust and basketball considerations ultimately determine the outcome. Does she think the Fever are assembling a team capable of winning a championship around her? Does she think the front desk staff will make wise choices? Does she think Stephanie White is a good coach? Does the organization make her feel appreciated and supported? Whether she remains or leaves will depend on those questions. For Caitlin, the renegotiation option is crucial. She could approach the Fever and declare, "I want this much money." Additionally, Caitlin can just fulfill the terms of the contract and depart if the Fever don't agree. She has all the leverage. In typical contract circumstances, the team is in control. This is the contrary. Caitlin has complete control in this situation. To be honest, that's how things ought to be. The franchise is her. The Fever are important because of her. They are profitable because of her. They have a future because of her. She should be paid appropriately. She should also be able to choose where and how long she plays. All of this is known to the Simon family, who own the Fever. They are aware that Caitlin brought their franchise back to life. They are aware of her economic influence on Indianapolis as a whole. They are aware that she recently won MVP and is an all-WNBA player. They want to make it easier for her to walk. They will do everything within their power to ensure her happiness and to keep her in Indiana. However, they must do everything within their power to make wise organizational choices. Hiring the appropriate coaches must be part of it. Creating the ideal roster around her must be part of it. It must involve being open and respectful to her. Caitlin might stay if they are able to accomplish all of those goals. She's gone if they can't. There are numerous responses regarding this news on social media. Because Caitlyn is locked in through 2027, some folks are rejoicing. The front office now has the power to completely destroy her, which worries some individuals. Some believe she ought to renegotiate a 3-year maximum to time her free agency with Aaliyah Boston's free agency, allowing them to collaborate elsewhere if necessary. In fact, that latter point is quite intriguing. Theoretically, Caitlyn and Aaliyah might decide to join with the same team if they both become free agents at the same time. Together, they could choose a franchise. They could push their way into a better position. That is the epitome of player empowerment. To be honest, it could be precisely what occurs if the Fever don't get their act together. One person said, "Caitlyn is injury-prone." Additionally, they would prefer to watch her performance this season before making a long-term commitment. That viewpoint is just absurd. Throughout her career, Caitlyn only sustained one injury. One. The previous season. That doesn't make a person more likely to get hurt. They are therefore a professional athlete who, like other professional athletes, occasionally sustains injuries. It is absurd to suggest that the Fever should be hesitant to commit to Caitlyn Clark due to injury worries. As others have properly noted, this was always going to occur because the option must be picked up by May 15, 2026. That option would never be allowed to expire by the Fever. They would always practice it. This was the most likely course of action. What comes next is the only thing left to wonder. Caitlyn has complete control over what occurs next. All the cards are in her hands that can request a significant pay raise, and the Fever will comply. The Fever will have to pay attention to her demands for organizational adjustments. The Fever would be wise to include her since she can demand involvement on roster composition and coaching decisions. Because it would be disastrous for this franchise to lose Caitlyn Clark. There are supporters that sincerely wish for Caitlyn to move out of Indiana. They no longer have any faith in the front office, not because they dislike the city or the supporters. They don't think the team will assemble a winning squad around her. They don't believe they can make wise choices. They don't think they'll take good care of her. And with last year's injury issue, who can you blame them? It was unacceptable that there was a lack of openness during Caitlyn's injury. Fans ought to be aware of what was going on. Caitlyn was entitled to competent handling of her predicament. Rather, it was months of ambiguous claims, shifting deadlines, and contradicting data. That is unacceptable for any athlete, much less the star of your franchise. It would be even worse if the front staff kept Caitlyn out without alerting anyone, despite the claims that she was healthy and prepared to play. That prioritizes the interests of the organization over the autonomy of the players. Making decisions without enough communication is that. That is precisely the type of behavior that players are drawn to depart. Therefore, even though activating the 4th-year option was the proper decision, it was only the beginning. The Fever must now demonstrate that they are worthy of Caitlyn's long-term retention. They must demonstrate that they have grown from the mistakes of the previous season. They must prove they are capable of creating an organization worthy of a championship. They must gain her confidence. Because Caitlyn doesn't require the Fever at this time. Caitlyn is essential to the Fever. She was able to play wherever. Anywhere, she could prevail. Anywhere she went, she could earn money. It is the Fever who must demonstrate their worth to her, not the other way around. Everyone has a clear end point thanks to the 2027 free agency schedule. Until then, Caitlyn can assess whether for her, Indiana is the ideal location. Until then, the Fever must demonstrate that they are. Fans will have until then to determine whether this team is genuinely interested in winning titles, or if they are merely content to follow Caitlyn about while making poor choices. What do I think? If the Fever truly improves, Caitlyn stays. If they assemble a team capable of winning a championship. If the coaching is done correctly. If they show her the deference she merits. However, Caitlyn will go if the turmoil persists, Stephanie White continues to make dubious choices, and the front office continues to struggle with fundamental organizational duties. And no one could hold her accountable. She now holds the authority. That is just where it ought to be. The Caitlyn Clark's 4th-year option was exercised by Fever, extending her contract through 2027. However, she can renegotiate her pay and add an extension under the new CBA, or she can simply quit for any team after 2027. Now she has all the power. The Fever must demonstrate that they are worthy of her in the long run, or she will leave. For free agency coverage and contract updates, hit like and subscribe.